Hi, I'm Frankie. Today, I would like to deliver a short presentation on the practice of people management versus the practice of knowledge management. I am very sure that this presentation will be of tremendous benefits to you. Now, this entire presentation will be divided into two major parts. In part 1, I will cover and provide an overview with regard to the practice of people management and the practice of knowledge management. And then subsequently, in part number 2, I will offer a direct comparison between people management and the practice of knowledge management. Alright, and after which, of course, I will offer you a summary of my presentation. So let's begin. Part 1. Now first, what is the practice of people management all about? The answer. The practice of people management is about getting things done through the subordinates by applying specific people management skills. Like, for example, skills to direct, to instruct the subordinates to get things done. Like, for instance, skills relating to delegation and reviewing the work of the subordinates, or even for the matter, skills concerning organizing, coordinating, and motivating the subordinates. In other words, in the practice of people management, the superior, first of all, develop the skills and then apply these skills on the subordinates to chase them to get things done. Now, in this context, what is very clear is people management is really what we call as people chasing management. And over a period of time, what happens is this: the superior will begin to accept the fact that he goes to work every day for what? For chasing subordinates to get things done. And on the side of the subordinates, over a period of time, they begin to expect that to get things done, they must be chased by the superior. And this chasing practice, this people chasing practice, has been around for hundreds of years. And to be very factual, since 1850s, during the emergence of the production-based economy or industrial-driven economy. In other words, to say that people management is indeed the hallmark of the production-based economy. And obviously, after some time, the superior begin to feel that chasing staff to get things done indeed is a very tiring process and it's not sustainable. And as such the case, the superior now will begin to ask himself, do I have to keep on chasing people all the time? And henceforth, gradually, he begin to realize, actually, I must begin to re-engine, to reconfigure my people chasing mindset. And this brings us to the practice of knowledge management in this very knowledge-based and innovation-driven economy. Now, so, what really is the practice of knowledge management all about? The answer. The practice of knowledge management is really about, firstly, developing 8 highly focused, self-driven, and proactive capabilities to systematically manage critical knowledge to drive sustainable superior performance or breakthrough performance. So in this context, these 8 highly focused capabilities include, firstly, knowledge identification. Secondly, knowledge acquisition. Thirdly, knowledge application. Fourth, knowledge sharing. Number 5, knowledge development. Number 6, knowledge innovation. Number 7, knowledge preservation. And number 8, knowledge measurement. Now, based on this working definition, what it suggests is this. First of all, when the superior develop these capabilities to effectively, systematically manage his critical knowledge to drive performance, after developing these capabilities, first of all, the superior will use it on himself first. In other words, this is directly opposite of what we talk about in the practice of people management. Because in the case of the people management, what really happens is this. Superior develop the skills and immediately apply the skills to chase staff to perform. But in the case of knowledge management practices, it's the reverse. After developing these key capabilities, the superior will first of all apply it on himself. Secondly, after the superior begin to internalize this practice, the superior will progressively proceed to share and to coach the subordinate to adopt the practice of self-driven and proactive knowledge management. Thirdly, eventually, the subordinate will now adopt this practice and leverage on his own critical knowledge to drive his own sustainable performance. Now, at this point, allow me to move on to part 2. Now, in part 2, what I will do is, I will do this. That is, I will provide you a direct comparison between the practice of people management and the practice of knowledge management on the other side. Now, what I've done is, I have prepared a short comparison table on the board over here. Now, on the left-hand side here, you will see that the practice of people management, there are 8 key characteristics. Likewise, on this side, the practice of knowledge management, there are also 8 key characteristics. Let's now go through the direct comparison. Now, first of all, in the case of people management, the focus is on people chasing, as was indicated earlier on. The first characteristics in people management, chasing subordinates to get things done. In the case of the practice of knowledge management, the focus is self-driven. In other words, the subordinate totally realize that for him to deliver performance, he must be self-motivated to manage his own critical knowledge. Next. The next key characteristic here is dependent mindset. In the context of the practice of people management, the emphasis is this. That is, the subordinate believes that he needs the superior to constantly direct him to achieve desired results. So we have what we call as dependent mindset. But on the other hand, in the case of the practice of knowledge management, what the subordinate is very clear is this. He knows very well, to achieve sustainable performance, he must leverage on his own critical knowledge. And if he does not have that critical knowledge, he must therefore acquire or import that critical knowledge to enable him to drive performance. Number 3, behavioral focus. Now, in the context of people management, what really happens is this. For the superior to get things done, he will then identify and say, alright, perhaps A. For Mr. A, I require more micromanaging, more chasing. And for B, looking at B's work behavioral pattern, I may require less chasing. So in other words, in this practice, the focus is on the work behavior of the staff. Now, in direct comparison, you will see therefore on this side, the key word is knowledge focus. Meaning to suggest, in the context of the practice of knowledge management, the subordinate mindset is very simple. And the mindset is this. Bottom line is to achieve my key performance indicators, I must not be chased. I must always be leveraging and capitalizing on my critical knowledge. So the focus is on the knowledge. Because why? Because in this context, the subordinate believes strongly he is, first of all, the knowledge worker. He is the innovative knowledge professional. Now next, the fourth characteristics is problem-centered. Generally, in the practice of people management, the subordinate believes that, well, if I have a problem, what happens is this. I will now raise this problem to my superior because my superior's role is to solve the problem. Why is that so? Because the mindset of the subordinate is this. I am the doer and you are the thinker. I do, you think. However, this is not the case if you look into the practice of knowledge management, because point 4 correspondingly, it says solution-centered. Now this suggests that in the practice of knowledge management, the subordinate totally subscribe to the belief that in order that I can add real value to my organization, I must be both the thinker and the doer. I must be here to offer solution, because offering customized solution is really the way forward in this particular practice. Next, number 5, controlling. Here, in people management, the subordinate believes that he must be controlled. Likewise, the superior on the other side also believe that controlling subordinate is very important to get things done. But on the other side, you will see the word is empowering on the side of the practice of knowledge management. What does it show? It shows, therefore, in the practice of knowledge management, we place major emphasis on proactiveness. In other words, the subordinate strongly subscribe to the belief that for me to be the real asset to my department, to my organization, I must be proactive all the time to render services, to render support to my organization. And number 6, individual contributions. Now, what it suggests here is this. The superior believes that in the practice of people management, I will drive the contributions of individuals in the department. Alright? Which means to suggest that my role is this. Well, I go to work, I look at my people and have to invest time to ensure that these individuals, they individually deliver their own respective performance. However, in the case of the practice of knowledge management, the key word is collaboration dynamics. So what does this suggest? Now, it suggests this. Number 1, in the mind of the subordinate, he believes, level 1, well, to achieve sustainable performance, yes, as an individual, I must leverage on my critical knowledge. However, number 2, it is also very critical that I must be able to leverage on the collective critical knowledge of all my team members. So henceforth, collaborating, sharing, and building on each other's ideas are very, very essential to ensure that we are able to generate consistent and sustainable team performance. Next, number 7. Now, in the practice of people management, as highlighted previously, what happens is this: the superior at some point in time will definitely feel it's very, very tiring to keep on chasing people to perform. And at the same time, the subordinate on the other side will also feel very annoying if the superior chase him or her to deliver results all the time. Now we compare this with the other one. The key word is sustainable. And this is very obvious. The practice of self-driven, proactive, and collaborative knowledge management generates sustainable, superior performance. Because, as indicated before, the subordinates are really self-motivated to drive his own performance. And finally, number 8, production economy. The practice of people management is indeed the hallmark of the practice of people management. So in other words, production economy drives people management. But on the other side, what happens is this: in the knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy, the way forward is to adopt the practice of knowledge management. Suggesting therefore, the practice of knowledge management is the key practice that enable organization to secure and maintain competitive advantage. So in summary, we come to this conclusion. First of all, in this knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy, if your organization is seriously interested to achieve sustainable, superior performance, surely, based on the overview and the comparison that provided, surely you will realize that investing money, investing time, investing efforts to develop skills to chase people to deliver result is definitely not the way forward. In this very economy, it is very clear that your organization must, number 1, equip your talents with the 8 highly focused capabilities to manage critical knowledge so that they can essentially achieve their own individual sustainable performance. And of course, in the process, makes them more self-driven and at the same time proactive. And number 2, definitely focusing on equipping your talents with the capabilities to collaborate with other co-workers. It's very, very essential because the act of leveraging on the critical knowledge collectively of all the team members will be able to springboard, to leapfrog, what we call as sustainable team performance. Now, final reinforcement. In this knowledge-based, innovation-driven economy, it is extremely clear that getting things done through the practice of people chasing management is getting more and more irrelevant. That's number 1. And number 2, and this therefore suggests that in any organization, an employee cannot be considered as a talent if that person needs to be chased to deliver performance. Now, in conclusion, if you are the head of the company, and if you are the head of human capital, and you are absolutely serious about achieving sustainable, superior performance, about ensuring that your organization secure competitive advantage, about ensuring that you can drive real profitability in the organization. Then I would like to offer you two key recommendations. Recommendation number one, as head of company or the head of human capital, I would like to invite you to participate in my half-day forum workshop entitled Initiating the Practice of Knowledge Management. To do what? To achieve breakthrough performance. At the end of this half-day forum workshop, you will be able to adopt a highly structured approach to initiate and sustain the practice of knowledge management for yourself and your key talents. That's my first recommendation. Recommendation number two, you can nominate your key talent. You can nominate your key managers or executive to participate in my one-day program entitled Developing the 8 Highly Focused Capabilities of a Talent. Now, this one-day program will equip your key talents with all the key skills required to systematically manage their critical knowledge and to drive their sustainable performance, whether it's at individual level or team level. On the other hand, you may be the head of a department. In this context, if you're a head of a critical department, for instance, critical departments like marketing, sales, customer service, production, operation, or even logistic, and technical or engineering department, and including support departments like finance and IT. Now, if you are the head of department and your real concern is to ensure your departmental talent deliver sustainable results, and you will want to nurture them to be more self-driven and proactive to deliver this breakthrough performance, then I would like to offer you again two key recommendations. First, the first recommendation is for you yourself to participate in my half-day forum workshop entitled Achieving Breakthrough Departmental Performance through the Practice of Knowledge Management. Now, this half-day forum workshop that I've just mentioned is different from the one I have highlighted early on, because this one is 100% customized for the heads of department like yourself. Obviously, number two, the second key recommendation, of course, is for you to identify and nominate your departmental talent or talents to participate in my one-day program entitled Developing the 8 Highly Focused Capabilities of a Talent. And of course, obviously, if you are the key talent yourself and you are the key manager or the key executive in the department, then obviously I would like to welcome you to participate in my one-day program of the same title, that is Developing the 8 Highly Focused Capabilities of a Talent. In summary, you realize this: the practice of knowledge management or systematically managing critical knowledge is the real focus of this knowledge-based and innovation-driven economy. And I can personally assure you that both the half-day forum workshops and the one-day program will definitely enable you to develop the critical skills required to propel yourself in this very economy and to leapfrog your professional career to greater heights. And with this, at this point of time, I am Frankie, signing off. Bye-bye to all of you here, and see you very soon. Take care.